Okay, now let's give a warm welcome to our birthday boy main speaker, Neil.
Sit this thing. My name's Neil. I'm an alcoholic. How did this happen, huh? I'll start off with saying that what I share is my opinion. A lot of stuff I've gleaned out of that blue book of ours, which I crammed late into the evening last night, knowing I was going to speak. So I want you to know I'm prepared. But I like the Al-Anon people that raise their hand. They're all gone now, though, right? Al-Anon people. Yeah. I used to go. There's Joanna. I went to Al-Anon for a brief period in the '80s, and I remember they had a big sign there, and it said, "You cannot share about your other addiction," which was. So, I was sharing, I was talking about my alcoholism, and this guy corners me in the parking lot, and he goes, "Can I have a word with you?" I said, yeah, what's the problem? He goes, well, you shared about your other disease, and I believe you ruined the spiritual continuity of our program. And I went, it's like, paused when we became agitated, asked God for the right thought, and I just went, yeah, fuck it. I said, if it wasn't for my other disease, you wouldn't have a fucking program, okay? I give you someplace to go on Saturday night. That's the thanks I get? Come on. Was anybody at Rodeo last night? Huh? This is the way it works. It's really funny. I used to, I've been around the block, twice. And, I go to a meeting and then you'd see another guy speaking. The same guy speaking back to back or week to week. And it's like, I spoke at Rodeo last night. And, the meeting I spoke at before that was in Pasadena. And, there were no cakes. It was the middle of summer. I had 55 minutes to fill. And I'm just going. And I swear to God, these girls go, "Oh, no, tell us about the 70s, That's one of the things about getting old, you're still, but I swear to God, I looked up at the clock, it was 9:15, and I was still in disco, So I got to know, how much time you spend in the old drunkalog. And last night, I talked last night, and I gave one of those pitches last night. If you've been around and you've done this, there's the guys with the can pitches. They're great. They're the circuit speakers. They got the cans pitched. They hit the notes. They hit the highlights. Boom, boom, boom. They're out 45 minutes. Everybody's laughed. They're clean. They're sober. You're gone. You're off to coffee, right? And you're sober one more day. I don't have, I used to have a kind of a canned pitch. I don't anymore. I just kind of talk about what's current, But last night, what I basically talked about was the 3 friends of mine that died from this disease, and I told their story. And it took 45 minutes, 3 friends, and 3 of my best friends from 2000, 2001, no, it was 2002, January, and then Michael Bond last year, July 4th. And, I just, the meeting just went, but it was one of those, it was a good down, It was like, everybody was like, thank you, we needed to hear that. But it was like, it's the truth. It's my story. And the bottom line is that, yeah, I'm looking at a room filled with people that should not be here, other than the fact of this gift of sobriety that we got. This gift. And, Johnny, it was so great to, you were voted most likely to die, I was the result, because my name was Neil. And they said the result was Neil, till we let go, absolutely, because he didn't want to let go. I had one guy, the best thing anybody ever said to me, he walked up to me in an afternoon meeting, his name was Richard. He goes, "Neil, you're so self-obsessed. If you were a woman, your name would be Mimi." And I didn't think about anybody but me, I. And you know, when the big book, it's so funny. Yesterday I was gone. Tony Moorhead called me to speak up at Rodeo, and you know, he called me out of the blue. And I said, yeah, I forgot Linda booked me. I thought you had, but I didn't hear back from you. And I was just going to kind of show up and take a cake night and see what happened. But Tony called me and asked me to come up and pitch. And so I go, man, I better get that book out. You know, I better start gleaming it again. You know, I've done a lot of step work, but you know, the big book never ceases to amaze me. You know, the stuff you read. And part of what I picked up, I opened up and I read the doctor's opinion. And in the doctor's opinion, Dr. Silkworth, who was treating Bill, talked about unless we have an entire psychic change, we're not going to make it. Don't want to scare anybody. You know what an entire psychic change is for me? Caring as much about you as I do about me. Be willing to do for you, okay? That's an entire psychic change for an alcoholic, for this alcoholic, okay? Take a newcomer to a meeting, you know? Get out of myself for a moment. That's an entire psychic change. You know, and I've had it. You know, that's why I'm standing up here 20 years later. And that's why some of us aren't. You know, I don't know what happened. You know, what I did share about last night, and I'll talk a little bit about it again, is it's the first drink that kills you. You know, it's the first drink that gets you drunk. It's the first one that kills you. You know, the illusion that we can control and enjoy our drinking, okay? And I will misquote, but it says some of us have written that into what? The depths of insanity and death, you know. And the illusion, it is the great obsession of every alcoholic to control and enjoy his using. And 20 years later, that still has to slam up in my face. And I have to be reminded. I had a friend and she was doing this like, everybody's doing a frickin' reality show, right? Who isn't, you know? But she asked me to come and, you know, her thing was a film dinner party, right? So they had all these young kids, you know, 30s. John, what happened, John? Fuck, man. We went from cocaine to Rogaine, baby. From freebase to Viagra, man, wow. That Viagra's pretty trippy. It's not for guys who need it. It's not for guys who need it, okay? Just get that out of the way. Yeah, I know, John, when we needed it, yeah, back in the 80s on the blow. I mean, it's the worst sex drug in the world, cocaine, right? The worst. There was a guy, Vernon, God bless Vernon. Vernon, well, I saw Vernon in a lot of men's stags. I mean, some of the greatest witticisms came. Vernon said, sex on cocaine is like trying to stuff a marshmallow in a piggy bank. Sorry. What else, Vernon? Vernon used to say, he goes, I was always driving around with 10 to life in my trunk. That's another Vernon one. What a great guy. And this is going to be one of those all over the place pitches tonight because I don't care. What's I talking about? The Great Obsession. What? Great Obsession? Oh yeah. So she's doing this dinner party thing, and you know, everybody's 30, popping that wine, baby, popping that wine, the Gold Chablis, the Merlot, and you know, I don't know, but I've been around a long frickin' time, and I'll bet you that a lot of guys and gals that went out just wanted to have a glass of wine with dinner. They missed that little grape, you know. This is a true story. Last night, I had the adrenaline pumping. A guy called me, said, come meet me for pizza down there across the street from Cantor's. I saw a guy that we got sober with, Michael W. Remember that guy? I can't say his last name. Anyway, you know who he is. Big movie star. Okay, so he goes blowing by me. You know, hey, Michael, you know, I had to call out his name twice, right? He's halfway up the street. My buddy finally goes, Michael! The guy turns around, hey, I didn't have my glasses on. You know, I know he's been out. You know, he's been out. You know, so, you know, I don't bust anybody's balls if they've been out. But he goes, yeah, I have a little wine with dinner. Yeah, a little wine with dinner. Not going to hurt. Yeah? Well, anyway, so we're doing this thing, and I get into the second thing, and I got the big empty goblet in front of me. And so I said to the director, I said to the caterer, I said, can you get me some grape juice? Can you put some grape juice in there? And the director picked up on it, and it's a reality show. He said, no. No. The glass of water, that's who you are. That's what we want. It took a normie, although the guy's name was Swampy, he's a director. Don't know how normal he was, but it took somebody else to take that alcoholic thought. And you know what that was? You remember the movie Pulp Fiction? That was pride fucking with me. Remember when he said, you're going to go down in the 6th round, and you're not going to want to, and that's pride fucking with you. You know, pride is the #1 offender. Pride is the one thing that is going to tell me I got to look good, okay? And, you know, there's devils out there, too. And I'll tell you who the devils are, okay? Got one living in the main house. I live in a guest house. I got one living in the main house. Walk out the other night. He's one of these busy little beavers. He's always working on shit. He's smoking a doobie. I said, buddy, you smoking a doobie? He goes, yeah, here, man. You know, he knows I'm sober 20 years. I said, buddy, what are you doing? He goes, come on, willpower. You know what? Why don't I just cut your head off with a chainsaw, you know? Willpower, you know? Try to, you know. And in a moment of weakness, sometimes you won't be able to say no, you know? And I have other devils. I go to the Zen monastery. My sister takes me up there. We've been going for 15 years. This is where I learned how to meditate. There's these guys from the Bay Area that are up there that we've befriended. They're really, you know, they're great guys. They're, you know, but they're into the wine deal. And it's, I mean, these guys pack in cases of frickin' wine, and it's always the label and and you know, the guy's like, it's, you know, it's 100 degrees up there, and he's got that, it's always that frickin' gold Chablis, just this brilliant gold, and he's swirling it. Hey, here, smell that. You know, fuck you. You know, and people don't get it about us, you know. It's like, you know, why can't you have a glass of wine? Well, because after a glass of wine, I want to get a bottle of wine, and then I want to get an 8-ball, and then I want to, you know, stay up for 3 days. You know, I kind of broke that part of my selection process. It doesn't work. So, you know, for you guys that are new, be very careful where you hang and who you hang with. And when they say stick with the winners, there's winners and losers in here, guys, you know, and you gotta really watch it, you know. When you go clubbing and you're new, come on, you know. Don't go anywhere without a pack of sober guys, okay? And be willing to walk from anything. That was what I was told. Never feel that you can't get up and leave. And in the beginning, I got up and left to where people, where the fuck did you go? You know, I mean, just gone. Just got up, left. Because I knew, you know, I was done. You know, I wasn't done when I first came in. I was not done when I first came in. I relapsed a lot. And my sponsor, Johnny S., okay, I should probably talk about what it was like and what happened, right, a little bit? What it was like for me is I grew up in the Palisades, okay? I was, if you want to chronicle my life, here's the movies you could rent. Dogtown and Z-Boys. Right after that, Drugstore Cowboy. Going to Saturday Night Fever. Scarface. And then Clean and Sober, okay? And growing up out here in the Palisades, and like, you know, I get a lot of surfer dudes, you know, we were the guys who invented that, you know, that valley talk, you know, gnarly. You know what that came from? That kind of like, wow, dude. You know where that came from? Reds, you know? Used to go down to Mexico and get a lot of downers, dude. And, you know, I grew up in the Palisades, but I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. And I love you for saying that, John. You know, the shit don't fix you. My sponsor, Al Sign, says if you're looking for something outside of you to fix you, never going to be enough. It's never, ever going to be enough. You know, I love those metaphors that people come up with, you know. And the one guy at a meeting the other day he goes, I have a God-shaped hole here. A God-shaped, not a Mercedes-shaped hole. Not a relationship-shaped hole, you know, not a house-shaped, God-shaped, okay? And I've had a few toys, you know, and I have lost them. I've lost a lot in sobriety. 90s kicked my ass, okay? Not only having my mother, my father back to back, my brother-in-law, Johnny, my buddy Jim, and Michael Bond. I've had 7 people die on me. I've lost property, 2 homes in the Palisades. And, you know, it's like, it's stuff, and it's not supposed to make you feel better. We were driving up here tonight, and my buddy goes, look at Cher's house. And I'm going, that might fix it. That bad might fix it. A little bit. And you know, my sponsor, Al, always has to remind me, he goes, Neil, there's a lot of happy people with money. And I know that firsthand. I drove a limo for 4 years. Toughest job. I mean, it was the first job I got. And how long did I go, John? 50 years. Guy knows me. Yeah, I didn't work for 20 years. Okay, that's why I'm broke. Anyway, I got this job, you know, as a limo driver. And I had working at a 4-star hotel. And I had nothing but people, and it was the end of the go-go 90s. There was a lot of fuck you money around, man. I mean, it was like people coming out from New York and just Texas, and Texas guys are the best, biggest hitters, bar none. Guys from the South. We fought for those guys. But these people were all on, they were all on vacation, number one. They were all staying in a 4-star hotel. They were all going to the best restaurants in town. They were all going to the best concerts. And it was like, you know, it was a trippy kind of job for me because I'm type A and I can't really focus much, so I'm always going, driving. And I was good, man. I mean, I was a good driver. I'm still, you know, like an incredible driver. I don't have road rage anymore due to meditation and one other thing I'll talk about later that none of you will be willing to do. But you know, I'd get these guys around and I go, but you know what? My sponsor, he said, Neil, this is such a great karmic job for you because you like to judge yourself against other people and feel bad. You know? And these people were living large, man. They had the life that I thought I wanted to have to be happy. You know? And the best thing anybody ever said to me was like, I took some lady out, a friend of Nancy Reagan's, I took her out to the Reagan Library out here, and they got to catch their plane, right? And I'm just blasting. I mean, you know, the plane's like, I know we're late, and I'm just blasting down the, you know, Ventura Freeway, and she rolls the little thing down, and she goes, Neil, you don't have to rush. The plane leaves when we leave. And I thought, that's really cool, you know? Fucking your own jet, I forgot, you know? I picked guys up, man. I have picked guys up. I picked a guy, you know, I did a 2-car job with a guy, and this guy jumped off the jet, and he was snapping fingers, pointing at me. And I looked at the other driver and said, I'm going to kill him. I don't care how rich he is. And he went up and he just told the guy, he said, hey, just chill out, you know. But, you know, I remember guys coming in on jets, and I'm going, is that it? Is that it? You know, G4, you know, this and that. And he goes, you'll recognize it when it comes in. I mean, this guy was on a commercial liner, you know. The guy was like a multi-billionaire. And you know what? Didn't seem like a real happy guy. Didn't seem as happy as Al Signs in his little apartment that we have a meeting at once a month, you know. So, you know, this happiness thing and kind of what John talked about thing, this, you know, it's like hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. How long did it take you to figure that one out? I'm starting to feel squirrely. I'm starting to get weird thoughts. Oh, I haven't eaten for 4 hours. I'm getting a little low blood sugar. So you know what? That was happening on the way to the meeting. Pulled over Panda Express, started whipping down some beef and broccoli. Felt better. You know, how hard was that? Guy from AA walks by and, Neil, how you doing? Good. I'm going up to Malibu. And he goes, hey, isn't life beautiful? Yes, it is. It's fucking beautiful. You know, that's a thought. Could I go the other way? Yes. I could sit there in the Palisades and go, God, I lost those 2 properties, man. I'll never get them back. Fuck. I'm living in a guest house. Fuck. Fuck. I'm going to get loaded, right? See, what happens is, and you know, I'm no expert, but I'll tell you, my experience is my head, and I'm reading a book now called The Power Now, and he talks about the difference between your mind and your brain. Your brain is an organ. Your brain is a device that is supposed to work when you're being attacked by a wild animal and get you out of trouble fast. Your mind is a compilation of shit that you have accumulated in this computer that hardwires and goes off when you don't want it to. You know, with innocuous shit. You know, and Al told me the only way out of that is to start meditating, that 11th step. And you know, I'll tell you, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to surf with the best guys, and Rick knows this. You go out and you surf with really good surfers, you start surfing better, okay? You go play golf with really good golfers, you start golfing better. You play tennis with better tennis players, you start playing better tennis. You hang out with people that are really working this program, you start working a better program. So I went down to the Zen monastery down here and started hanging out with the guys that really know how to do this shit. And I go down, I'm not bragging, but I mean, it's like, I couldn't sit for 10 minutes. We go down there, last week we did a 2-hour sit, you know. You get up a little bit, stretch your legs, walk, but it is absolutely put me, and I'm not saying all the time, man, I go into the bad days, I go into depression, I just don't stay there as long, you know, and through sitting, I have plugged into the now, and you know what, it doesn't take much, it's not hard to do, you start with 5 minutes, work it up to 10, you know, I'm up to 20 minutes in the morning, I do 20 minutes in the evening or 30, go down to the Zen Center, but I'm consistent about it, just like I was consistent about going to 1,000 fucking meetings when I got sober, okay? Because I got, you know what, every time I blew off a meeting, you remember this, I'd blow off a meeting and be at home and then ring the sponsor, you know, where are you? Oh, it was a really good Monday night football game. Oh yeah, you're going to a meeting? I think I'll pass. Oh, okay. Did you get loaded every day? Yeah. I guess you're going to a meeting, you know. That's the way it worked. You got loaded every day? Go to a meeting every day. Be willing to go to any place, be willing to do whatever you did to get loaded. We'd do anything to get loaded, wouldn't we? Do anything to get that blow in our body, go anywhere to get it. Any lengths. You know, would you go up to Santa Barbara to pick up a newcomer to stay sober? Fuck no. You know, but you did? We did, because we were told to do it, you know? And you know, meditation's really simple. You know, you go back to your breath, you know, and you don't have to close your eyes. I don't close my eyes, but you know, it's like, you know, it basically works like this. You breathe in, you breathe out, you know, and I'm breathing in and I'm going, wow, man, I'm really getting this. I'm a meditating fool, you know. Breathe in, breathe out. And then all of a sudden, you know, did I leave the gas on? You know? Oh, there's a thought. Okay. And then all of a sudden, breathe in, breathe out, back to the thought. So all of a sudden, man, I really blew that interview. Oh, another thought. Go back to the breath, you know, then I wonder if a dog could mate with a cat. You know, it's like, where did that come from? The fuck was that, you know? Something like from Mutual of Omaha from 1970. It's like, and you go like that. Oh, there's a weird thought. And you keep going into thoughts, and then what happens is after you start to perfect it, you walk around in your day and you see a thought. And what they teach you is, the Buddhists teach you, look at the situation and observe it, just like you're observing your thought. And case in point today, I lost my car keys. And I've lost them again. I don't have them on me. Second time in one day. But today, I did the big panic. Car keys. Fuck. You know, I'm at Starbucks. What did I do? Run back into Starbucks. You didn't find any car keys? Car keys, car keys. They didn't fucking lose them. They don't care. Guys are looking at me like, no car keys, man. You know. I go, did you empty that trash in the last hour? No, go ahead. I'm digging through the freaking trash. I'm over here. Got to run over to the Coffee Bean because that's where we started. I wanted to go to Starbucks. I like Starbucks coffee. And you know the thing about Starbucks coffee? It's juiced. Come on, it's juiced. It's drugs. Okay, so, you know, I'm running around like a chicken with my frickin' head. I'm like bounding across the street. Now we're walking. I'm with this guy. We're walking back to my car. I'm convinced. Oh, they're fucking locked in there, or they're not in the car. And blah. And all of a sudden, I just got really calm. I went. And I'll tell you what worked it for me was I've got a friend that I've been taking care of who's dying. Okay, he's sober, Matt Rowe, a long time. He's having a rough time. He's beat cancer, had a stem cell transplant. Now his lungs are shut down. I thought to myself, I said, what he would not give for this problem, what he wouldn't give to be bounding across the street like a fucking deer. And I just went, I don't have a problem. Those are my fucking car keys. Guess where they were? They're in my car, you know, and it wasn't locked. And that's where they'll be tonight, you know. And it's just all, it's old, it's age, right? It's fucking age, man. Short-term memory loss. It's all thoughts. It's all what I want to make out of my thoughts. And if I want to doom and gloom it, I'm building up a case to get loaded. And that's what'll happen. And, you know, God, this isn't going the way I thought, but you know, I just go with it. I mean, the disease is so cunning, baffling, and powerful that it's a wonder that we get a day, you know. And what happens is we get here and our lives change and our lives get great. And I'll tell you another story. This is one of those pitches where it's all current, so fuck it. You know, last night, my buddy calls me and goes, hey, meet me for pizza. You know, it's like midnight. I got the adrenaline going from speaking, so I go down to meet him. And we're down there. And about 2:30 in the morning, these two girls roll up, and he knows one of them from the apartment complex where he lives down the street, and the other one is just lit up. She's just one of us. She's got the pizza like, oh, you know, and it's falling on the ground. I have my fucking pizza, you know. And I don't know how, all of a sudden, out of her mouth, she goes, because I'm an alcoholic. I went, God bless you, darling. I go, I'm an alcoholic, too. She goes, really? You want to go do some shooters? You know? I go, no, I'm sober alcoholic. I go, you want to, we can go over to Canner's, get some coffee, and talk about it. And my buddy, my newcomer, you know, I don't think he's got a year, you know, he's one of these like 6-month wonders. He goes, it's a self-diagnosed disease, you know. And I was like, I go, you know, quit 12-step blocking me, man. I mean, you know, it's a self-diagnosed disease. I go, what the fuck would you know about it? This is a guy who stopped drinking on his own for 17 years and then hooked up with and started drinking again, and now he's like throwing the big book at me, you know. At any rate, we walked back to her apartment, myself and my buddy and the other chick, and it's like she was knocking me over with that breath, you know, and just like, and I said, look, and the other girl who was an Al-Anon keeps going, you're talking to the bottle. You're talking to the bottle. And I said, yeah, but the bottle's talking back, man. The bottle's cute. And I said, you understand what I'm saying, right? And she goes, yeah. She goes, it's just that I moved out here from New York. I got this great job. I'm a graphic designer. I fucking hate it out here. And I said, well, you know, New York doesn't look like, you know, bed of roses at this point. I go, so you're here? I said, you know, you could do it real, listen, I'll give it to you straight. You could get sober and have this incredible life. Or you could drink for the next 5 to 10 years and come crawling into Alcoholics Anonymous then, if you're lucky. If you're one of the lucky ones. If you don't die or kill somebody, because she was a real alcoholic. I mean, she was a die-in-the-wool alcoholic, Irish drunk, you know, drunk. And man, God love her. God love her for, you know, making me see that, you know, it's just such a gift in here. And you do talk about the love. You know, I had a disappointment tonight. A couple of my friends showed up. They're out there. You know, they were back in the too cool for school section, you know, the dare me to get sober wall. They don't want to sit up there. Now where are they? They're outside, man. They're just moving as far away from me as possible so I don't talk about them, which I won't because I'm too self-obsessed. So, the bottom line is that we all got here. You know, we got this gift, and when you talk about love, I'm sitting here going, I got disappointed tonight. I go, this person didn't show up, this person didn't show up, this person didn't show up. And you know, it's like Al Sines, another guy, I got to quote this guy, he just said, people will let you down no matter what. And that is why you have to have a relationship with a higher power, because your higher power never lets you down. It doesn't. You think it does. And you know what? Listen, ain't no saint, man. In fact, that was the meeting theme today. We're not saints. We are willing to work along spiritual lines. That's it. You know, I've done a lot of fucked up things in sobriety. And you know what? I have those conversations with God that you do not want to hear. I am MFing God in the car a lot. And then I get over it, you know. And I realize, you know, one of the things with stuff, who are you going to have more stuff than in this town? Who are you going to out-cool in this town? You know, this is a hip, slick, and cool show business town. And, you know, it's funny, all those people that have it end up here anyway. And we're already here, you know. So, but the thing is that the stuff is like, as long as I can think that if I have it, I will be happy, I'm living out of the now. And that whole thing with that book, even though it's not AA approved, you should read it anyway, The Power Now. If you're living in the future, because see, the future holds the promise that it's all going to be better when I get this, get her, get him, get the series, get the car, it's going to be better then. And that's worry, anxiety, blah, blah, blah. The past, where I like to hang out, that's my particular place. Regret, bitterness, loss, okay? If I only did this, if I only invested that money in the 80s in Microsoft, if I only did that house, if I hung on, and the beat goes on, and the next thing you know, you're over at Shay J's going, you know? Shay J's. The reason I say Shay J's is because I had to meet a guy to pick something up, and it wasn't a dope deal. Remember those? Meet me in the parking lot of Shay J's. You know? So I met him in the parking lot of Shay J's, beautiful summer, end of summer afternoon. They had that little Mr. Ed door open. It was so dark you couldn't see inside, so I had to pop my head in the door, tinkling. It's just right out of the big book. Only I'm not like Bill, you know. But, you know, you pop your head in, the frothy, cold glasses, the guys pounding beers, watching Monday Night Football, you know, a couple platters of martinis going by. God, it looked good, you know, and it got you right. You know, those guys talk about a martini goes by, you get it right there. It's like that, you know. And I just went, 20 years later, that's a thought, you know, just another thought. But, you know, it's one that I don't get to indulge in. And in the big book, when that happened to Bill, what he did was, you know, that held the promise, through those doors held the promise of frivolity, fun, glamour, but it also held the promise of, you know, where he came from, you know. And so what he did was he went over, found the church log, called up, do you have a drunk? You know, they found him a drunk, you know. And that's the way it worked, and that's the way it still works. And it's like, I got to remember, you know, my friend Rick, who's absconded out there somewhere, you know, we did step studies at his house for about a year, and, you know, we read the steps over. I mean, we didn't even get through till 6, and we were there on it a year. I mean, we read this. I mean, you know, if I had to one more time read, you know, many AAs went overseas, you know, it's like, you're going to read that shit over and over. But the thing that says is that, you know, for some of us, this is it. And we have to be happy with that, you know? And sometimes it's as good as it gets. And you know what's going on with me today, the feelings that I'm connecting up today with the work that I'm doing on the meditation is you can't buy it. I did drugs to try to get it. You know, but I have some moments of bliss that I have never, ever experienced in my life, you know, and they're not all that short-lived. And, you know, it's about, you know, what you really want to put your energy on and what you want to focus on. And it's like my sponsor says, you know, this whole thing with self-centered fear, I'm not going to get what I want, I'm going to lose what I got, which activates all our other character defects. You know, he always says, Neil, if you want to see what you're supposed to have, you got it. That's what I'm supposed to have. It's what I got. It may change. I hope it does. You know, but, you know, I got it. It's what I got. I'm at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, second night in a row, talking to a bunch of people who understand me because they know what it is. You know, you guys all know what it is to feel empty. You all know what it is to feel beaten. You know, there was only 6 steps originally, and I read that on page 292, and it was talking about the first one was complete deflation. Complete, you know, hit the bottom. And it's like, I've had to hit more bottoms sober than loaded. I've had to hit more bottoms in the 90s. I had to go to other programs. I had to be in another program, be the drunk at the back of the room with the booze on his breath. 12 years in another program, and only now been able to put together 9 months, you know. Harder kick for me, this one, you know, but the bottom line is that, you know, I was sent by my sponsor to this other program, and the guy met me there, and I said, well, you know, I got, you know, yeah, and even, you know, I got 15 years Alcoholics Anonymous. He goes, sorry, sport, credits don't transfer over. And they don't. You know, that birthday cake, I mean, that's going to send somebody into another program, you know. I mean, it's like, you know, there's the big 5: sex and love, food, gambling, nicotine, relationships, shopping, you know, whatever. You know, there's many ways to not get out of your feelings. But for alcoholics, I mean, the big one for you guys, you know, the big one for the new guy is this one. This is the mother of all programs. It's like back in the 70s. I'm going to give John a little Pittsburgh plug. Pittsburgh, when they won everything, they won 4 Super Bowls, they said the road to the Super Bowl goes through Pittsburgh. You know, the road to any of those other programs comes through Alcoholics Anonymous. And I'm pretty much done. You know, I just want to say, you know, thank you guys for paying a 12-step call on me. Thanks for making me feel good on my birthday. Thanks.